Alcohol is amazing, or not. I don't know. We're reacting to this video, this new one done by Kurzgesagt in a nutshell. And it's been a while since we reacted to one of their videos, but this one caught my eye and I was like, interesting. Alcohol, pretty relevant in the day and age that we live in.
Do you think it's actually a video about alcohol being amazing, or do you think that title's a little bit cloak and dagger?
No, I watched like the first minute of it, so it's kind of like a warning video, I think, about alcohol. So, but anyway, with that said, I think in a day and age where a lot of people are talking about fentanyl and the dangers of alcohol, you might be surprised at where alcohol falls on the whole spectrum of danger and warning. So
it's
anyway,
unbelievable. Yep.
We won't keep you waiting. Let's get into it.
Alcohol is the most harmful substance on Earth. Every year, it kills more people than terrorism, wars, homicides, and car accidents combined. It injures tens of millions in accidents, violence, and crime, while keeping hundreds of millions trapped in disease. If it didn't exist already, inventing it today would be unthinkable. And yet, more than 2 billion people drink. Most of us can't imagine a barbecue without beer, a wedding without wine, or a fancy soiree without champagne. We have a drink at the weekend because it's the weekend, but also after work, when we're stressed and when we're relaxed, sad and happy, at home and outside. Alcohol is kind of a paradox. Why do we cling so much to the thing that harms us the most? You after one drink. Alcohol is a biological weapon that yeast produces during fermentation to wipe out its competition. In alcoholic drinks, it's mixed with water and flavored with everything from fruits to caramel. With just one sip, sextillions of alcohol molecules flood your stomach and small intestine. From there, they head to your liver, your primary detox center, and to other organs like the brain. But your liver can only process about one sip of beer every 5 minutes, so unless you drink really slowly, it will become overwhelmed while an ever-growing swarm floods your brain. Here's where the chaos begins. The legion of intruders fills your brain and starts messing with neurotransmitters and receptors. Their sabotage is so complex that scientists aren't fully sure yet about all their mechanisms. But we know that alcohol numbs your neurons, making them slower, and disrupts their communication. This has several effects. It sedates you, melting away tension and stress. It stuns your prefrontal cortex, your center for decision-making and self-control, making you more disinhibited and prone to say or do things that you normally wouldn't. And it releases endorphins, feel-good molecules deeply tied to human connection. The chemicals that we produce when we laugh, sing, or dance with others, and which help us turn fleeting moments into shared memories. So, after a drink or three, the world doesn't only feel lighter, it feels lighter with others. The invisible walls of insecurity around us begin to soften, and you find yourself becoming a little more you. Less afraid to talk, laugh, sing, or share joys and sorrows. Conversations flow easier, smiles last a little longer, and strangers can become friends or lovers more easily. So, for a while, it feels like the weight of being human isn't yours to carry alone. Alcohol sits at a sweet spot of gentle relaxation, mild courage, and friendly companionship that makes it the perfect social lubricant. One that comes with quite a few costs. Your body on regular drinking. For billions, these rounds become more frequent over time. The occasional drink becomes a weekly habit, then a ritual every other day, catching up with friends or unwinding. And there's always this buddy who drinks way more and has a perfectly normal life. But as the rounds add up over years, the damage builds up. The alcohol molecule can dissolve in water and fat, which allows it to invade almost every cell and tissue. And when your body breaks it down, it transforms into acetaldehyde, a chemical that's even more toxic than alcohol itself and that wreaks havoc on your tissues, cells, and DNA. In your brain, this shrinks your neurons and severs their connections, making it harder for different parts of the brain to communicate. As your brain withers, your memories fade, your thinking slows down, and your risk of dementia increases. When and how you drink matters. The younger you are, the wider the damage, and the more you drink in one go, the worse you'll make it. The human brain isn't fully wired until your mid-20s, so drinking before that age is like smashing wet cement before it's set. In 20-year-olds, blackout drinking episodes have been found to cause mental problems for up to a year, forgetting why you entered a room or having difficulty learning new things. Binge drinking in late adolescence is also one of the highest risk factors for early onset dementia. Then there's cancer. Just as smoking hits your lungs, alcohol causes 8 types of cancer, basically everywhere from mouth to bowel, plus breast cancer in women. Here, risks start at an average consumption of less than 1 glass of wine per day. Beyond that, risks increase. Worldwide, alcohol causes around 740,000 new cancer cases per year, leading to 400,000 deaths. Another victim is your liver. Alcohol disrupts fat metabolism, causing fat to build up in your liver cells. But this often has no symptoms, so you may go on drinking as your liver slowly turns to fat, swells with inflammation, and starts to fail. The final stage is cirrhosis. Your liver is full of scars and barely functioning. This might take over 10 years, but once it appears, it's largely irreversible. Every year, 600,000 people die because they have a liver destroyed by alcohol. Drinking also weakens your heart, raises blood pressure, and increases the risk of stroke and thrombosis, leading to another 500,000 deaths from cardiovascular diseases every year. In terms of looks too, alcohol damages cells around your body, including your skin, which looks older sooner. And not only does alcohol contain a lot of calories itself, it also makes many people very hungry. Drinking is a huge source of weight gain and increases the risk of obesity, opening the door to a cascade of other health problems. When scientists crunch these numbers, they see that health problems can start at about 1 beer a day, and that the chances of premature death start rising significantly at around 3 beers a day for men and less than 2 for women. If this sounds like a lot to you, maybe look around. In the EU, the average man drinks the equivalent of almost 3 beers a day. The average woman, almost 1. Similar figures apply to much of the world, especially the West. There's no other drug we consume that gets so close to the edge of harm. It isn't only your body.
Well, there's a lot in there. A lot of negative side effects from drinking. I think a lot of these things people already know, but despite knowing it, I think culturally we tend to put it off to the side. We don't like to look at it because it is a part of so much of people's daily lives and routines. Like there's so many people out there. It's like everything. It's like, have you ever been to a dry wedding? Have you like? It's amazing the difference.
I have been to a dry
I haven't
wedding.
been to a dry wedding.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
Like at the time I was drinking, and so I didn't like that.
Yeah. But it seems to be everywhere. Like you can't, like when you're really young, a lot of young people, they want to party, and it usually involves drinking, and that's where it begins. And then it just turns into like all the social gathering, like gets-togethers. Like as you get older, you get your first job and you want to go with the guys after work and we go get beers. And
What are we pretending like it's not awesome for some people? Some people don't like it. Like my wife doesn't even like the feeling of it, she says. And she doesn't, you don't drink, I don't drink, my wife doesn't drink. Yeah. I'm not saying I never will drink, but I'm saying for many people, it's a crazy thing that like it feels good to do. It's like heroin probably feels good. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things that probably feel good that have negative effects, like a lot.
It was interesting how
sugar,
how he was talking about kind of like the habitual effects there. In my younger years when I was drinking a lot, I remember it didn't start off with drinking all the time. It started off with like weekends. It was like, oh, the weekend's coming up. And then you drink on the weekend. And then as I got older, you'd slowly start to integrate like, oh, I got some leftover beers from the weekend. Then you start drinking in the week. And then it's just like, there's this compounding effect of like
humans are addictive. Don't we humans find, like, here's the thing. Alcohol feels good. And I doubt that the occasional drink is a problem. Yeah. But when we find something we like to do it, and we want to do it a lot. And then you kind of, if it becomes a problem, then you get to a point where you're like, now I have to like stop myself from doing the thing that I always know is there and I want to do. Yeah. That sucks. So like from a young age, I think it's good to like paint this in a realistic light, which is there's a lot of things you never want to do for the first time. Don't do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially if you realize that like if you're a creature of habit, which most of us are. Most people become habitual about something.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the thing. Some people I've met, I feel like I've encountered multiple people at this point that aren't into it.
Yeah.
That's not their thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
But for people that are into it, it's like, well, you never know if you are that person or not. So maybe never start. All that being said, I wanted to say something. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Charles Bukowski, Vincent van Gogh, Jackson Pollock, Nikola Tesla. All famous alcoholics. There was other people on that list, but I just want to get it over.
Oh, okay.
Genius alcoholics.
Yeah.
Famous genius alcoholics. Now, do geniuses struggle historically famous? Has there been other famous people that struggle with other things too, like drugs, alcohol, all kinds of, other sorts maybe of addictions?
Mm-hmm. So
it's not like a criticism of decision making. Like, they tried to make alcohol illegal in Canada and in the United States, and people were like, then we're all going to become criminals.
Yeah.
That's how badly we want this.
Yeah.
I think the deeper question is like, yes, we know it's bad. They've got, remember when they had like horrible images on cigarette packs?
Yeah.
Did that even really, hopefully it does deter some level.
I think that actually did work in Canada.
Maybe it did. So maybe videos like this are just good work and it will deter it.
Well,
change my
Here's
gear.
another thing. Here's a fascinating stat, and then we'll get back into it. But lately, I don't know if it was a month ago or 2 months ago, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that the boomer generation and the Gen X generation both consume close, like the boomer was something like $90 billion a year worth of alcohol, and Gen X was like 80 something billion. And then Gen Z and millennials were down at like 20 billion. Like, they're not drinking as much, which is fascinating to
That's
me.
really good. I mean, it's good if we see less smoking, less drinking, and all that stuff. But for the fact that they are habit forming and that they're bad for you. We all know they're habit forming. There's a potential to become an alcoholic and that they're bad for you. But it's like, think of the advice I'm giving here. Don't do it because it might be fun and then you'll have a problem on your hands. Like, some people, that's not a problem for them. And I wanted to say something else. I wanted to say something here. Hang on, just give me a sec. Why would somebody do something with evidence that it's bad for you? Why would somebody do it anyway? Why would somebody not do it? Meaning, like, why would somebody cease doing something like this?
Well, I think
why would somebody pick another path than stimulation or relief or something like that from alcohol?
I think probably some of it is that they see other people doing it and they're like, well, they're doing it and they seem fine. I think the video kind of even alluded to that. Like, we all got that one friend who seems to drink way more than you drink, and they're fine and they seem to be functioning and go to their job every day, but you don't necessarily see what's going on behind the scenes. But
how many things are like this? Like, what if you were like, what's something that you want to get a hold of that you can't? You know what I mean? Let's say it's anything. Anything from you're just out of, you're not connected with the community or anyone enough to even get your hands on some illegal substance. It's like, I'll probably never try it because I'm not in the black market. I don't know how to get a hold of it. But what are some other things like that? What if, like, money is like that? Now I'm getting crazy, and I'm not anti-money, but I'm saying, let's not say money. Let's say being rich. Let's say fame. Let's say being married. Let's say anything. Where you do it, you get a taste of it, and then something happens. You get married to some person and they go haywire on you and they ditch you. And then you're like, you've always got that memory of being cuddled and petted, and you know what I mean? Now that's out of your life. You got to go find another fix for that. And it sounds like what I'm winding up to is like, don't try things because there's danger in trying things. No, but there's a lot of data on this. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of data on any type of thing you could look into before you did it. What I'm trying to point out is, rather than in the aftermath, you don't have to tell an alcoholic that it's bad for you. Like an alcoholic that's like not completely delusional and denying everything about reality, but an alcoholic that's like seasoned and now they're overweight. They've got health issues. They've got screwed up relationships because of it. They're like, oh, I know it's a nightmare, or a heroin addict, or anybody else. And some of them are like, I love it so much, I'm just going to do this till the wheels fall off. I'm going to die doing this. And some of them go, no, there's still time. And they stop and they change and they stop doing it. But rather than going through that, it's like if you could find an alcoholic and be like, what if I could go back in time and stop you from ever even having that first drink? I wonder how many of them would be like, that would be awesome. I would love it if I never did it. So this video is good for hopefully deterring people from that. Hopefully it's good for waking the odd people up. And hopefully it's good for do that to other things too before you do them. Is this going to be worth it? Or is this going to be like a drug that I got to kick later? You know what I mean? Or I can't live without. Or my whole life changes around and becomes like a problem. Just notice the general addictive nature we have to things.
All right, well, we'll continue on.
Alcohol is unique for another reason. Its unmatched ability to destroy others. Alcohol causes a staggering amount of accidents. The numbness and disinhibition of a few drinks can morph you into a clumsy critter eager to take really stupid risks on a balcony, at sea, or on the road. Every year, alcohol-fueled accidents kill 500,000 people, 300,000 of them in car accidents. But more than half of the people who died in those crashes didn't drink. They just died because someone else did. Alcohol is also one of the major causes of violence, from fights in the pub to domestic abuse, other brutal assaults, and murder. Figures differ by country, but essentially 50% of all violent crime and sexual assault is committed by drunk offenders. Each year, alcohol-fueled crime kills about 100,000 people. That's a city like Pisa being massacred every year by a drunk mob. And then you have all the non-lethal victims. In England alone, 500,000 adults are injured every year in accidents caused by drunk people. Another 800,000 get hurt in violent attacks by drunk offenders. Zoomed out to the rest of the drinking world, this means that every year dozens of millions are physically harmed by someone else's drinking. The most innocent bystanders are the 600,000 babies born every year with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, a devastating lifelong condition caused by drinking during pregnancy. Alcohol is nothing short of a global catastrophe. The final toll, the hijacking of 400 million lives. When your drinking escalates to a point that it causes real harm to yourself or others, you've crossed the invisible line to alcoholism. An estimated 400 million people, 1 in 14 adults, are in this territory. The line is very fuzzy and varies from person to person, but if you consistently drink 8 beers per week as a woman, 15 as a man, or 5 on the same day, you've either crossed the line or are dangerously walking towards it. Of those 400 million, more than half have fallen into an even deeper trap, dependence. When alcohol has become something that you physically or psychologically need. In Europe and the Americas, 1 in 20 adults are caught in this web. The stereotype of alcoholism is one of extremes. A homeless person clutching a bottle or an always drunk father shouting at his kids. But it can be far more silent. A US study found that up to 50% of all alcoholics may fly under the radar. They come in 2 main groups: unproblematic young adults and middle-aged professionals with successful careers and families. As one of them, you'll show no antisocial behavior. You'll fulfill your obligations. You'll probably have no diagnosed health conditions. But on average, you'll be having 4 beers a day and will get drunk every week. And neither you nor your family may notice. No one questions a drink at dinner, after work, or at a party. But it's exactly that that makes alcohol so dangerous. No other drug is so widely accepted, casually consumed, and easily ignored. So, okay, how did we come to this? A pact with the devil. We made a pact with alcohol to help us solve one of the greatest challenges of being human. Human interaction is messy. We long for closeness, but we're also anxious, awkward, and wary of each other. Am I talking too much? Do they actually like me? What if I say something stupid? There are many ways to navigate this. Alcohol is not the solution, but it is definitely one of them. It is a real and effortless solution to the problem of connecting with others. Studies confirm what we've known for millennia. Modest quantities of alcohol help strangers bond. And individuals who drink moderately and socially tend to have more friends, closer friendships, and higher levels of trust in others. So if we want to step away from alcohol, we need to be honest about what we gain from it. For millennia, we've been giving it our health and years of our lives. And in return, alcohol gave us confidence, connection, and celebration. But right now, this is changing rapidly. Younger generations, and especially Gen Z, are drinking far less than their parents did. In the US, the share of 18-year-olds who have ever tried alcohol has dropped by 25% in the last decades. Binge drinking in adolescence has plummeted by 50%. And even in countries like Germany or France, where beer and wine have always been part of the cultural DNA, alcohol consumption is falling. And that's a victory. Fewer accidents, fewer hospital beds filled, fewer lives quietly derailed. But at the same time, other things have been falling too. The share of young people who see their friends almost every day has plummeted by 50%. Attendance at parties has fallen by 30%. Dating and casual sex have fallen by a similar amount. All while loneliness and mental health issues have skyrocketed. There are many different reasons for this, from COVID to social media. But the shift in which drugs we consume is probably not totally unrelated either. Drugs like weed have gained ground massively, and in contrast to drinking, smoking weed tends to make many people less energetic and likely to do things, more socially awkward, and especially if you use a lot of it, more lonely. Alcohol has been a powerful and influential tool for sharing, celebrating, and enjoying life with others for thousands of years. If the West is on the path to drinking less, we might also be on the path to something completely new. A future where we connect and rejoice without a poisonous chemical crutch, or at least without this specific one. It's up to us to figure out what comes next.
I liked how at the end there kind of showed you some of the positive sides and like the repercussions of what happens when you pull something out, and like all the different dynamics tied to something like that, which also I think adds to the conversation what we were talking about, like why are people continuing to do this? Like the answer of like, you know, social anxiety, people in social settings, it helps bring people together on some level, it looks like.
Oh yeah. And you know, like it's weird. There's so many. It's possible to glamorize any kind of like drug. You know what I mean? Like there's a way to make smoking opium look cool. There's a way to make smoking pot look cool. But there's like the image in your head, and then there's the actual reality of the substance, right? And I think that maybe it was because of COVID. Like it seems like alcohol sort of slowed down after COVID, but during COVID it was like rampant. At an all-time high. And maybe the next generations just saw the ugliness therein, like all this like cloistered up. When it's not paired with a social laughing gathering, it's just drinking alone. That's like a scary vision. And, you know, maybe that whole thing really saved people from going down a path of alcoholism. But there's somebody out there reviving alcohol. There's somebody out there like, I'm going to make alcohol cool again. Yeah. You know what I mean? I kind of like that weed is supplanted it. It seems like a healthier thing. But important thing there, weed makes people, it's not as social lubricating as alcohol is. But here's the thing, okay? Like a lot of people drink to begin with because they're like, well, I'm socially awkward. I want to not be nervous. I want to go be around people. That's why like a lot of people start drinking to begin with. Like when I decided I wasn't going to drink so much anymore, I was like, I told myself, I was like, I have to be able to say the same outlandish shit sober as I do when I have a buzz going. I decided that. Yeah. And so right afterwards, when I would be going to things without drinking, I would just like, I would have to conjure bravery to like say crazy shit and be like, thus saith Justin. And you know what? That alone will alienate you. Like, you're not even drunk. You're just crazy. Well, then there's too much of a premium on sanity. You know what I mean? Like if I got to kill myself to just force myself to be around people, let me question whether or not being around people is even something I want to do. And I'm still around people every now and then.
I was such a late bloomer when it came to drinking. Like I think the first beer I had was when I was like 21 and I hated it. It was nasty. And then I remember I was doing some work not too much later, and I was so parched by the end of the day. It was on a hot summer day, and the homeowner brought out some beers for us, and I tasted it, and it was the most delicious thing I ever had. I was like, oh yeah. And that was like probably the start from there on in for like the next like 15 years after that. I became a drinker. I did, like, not all the time. Like I said, it started with weekends.
We hang out in one giant friend group, and we were all drank way too much.
Yeah. But it wasn't until I was probably like 30 in my 30s, and, you know, married with kids, and you start to see the uglier side of like what it does to you around the house. And, you know, like there's been a lot of terrible things, you know, said in this video about drinking. In terms of myself and my honesty, I've been someone who's kind of been on and off in my like I've gone on like 8-month fasts and then come back and then like had some drink to see if I've conquered it. And then
that's why I said I'm not even saying I'll never have a drink again.
I'm currently in an off streak, but you know, maybe I'll drink again someday. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to be swayed by what I didn't ever drink. Because, well, actually, I probably first drank because everyone was doing it. But I definitely didn't stop because everybody was stopping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if I ever do it again, it won't be because that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
You do it because I either want to or I don't want to. But my first drink was similar. I was nursing a beer and I was like, this is gross. And then the person I was with was like, chug it. Chug the beer. And so I chugged it and I was like, it was like it goes right into your veins and immediately rewires your brain. You're like, this tastes even good now. You know what I mean? And then that's how it starts.
Yeah.
So if you haven't drank before, careful, a little demon that shows up and is like, you're not doing it right. Drink it quick. Drink it quick. Get it in there, and then you'll.
I think a good message to take from a video of this is just be conscious of all the aspects of it. You know, all the little things that have been said around here. And, you know, just take all of it and just analyze it. You know,
if you're trying to quit, you can do it. Mm-hmm. If you are afraid that you're going to, like, if there's any fear around, well, I don't want to be a social weirdo or I don't want to be this or that. It's not real. That's all conditioning, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's plenty of people that'll give you like a way more sound walk. Like you can Google, like, how do I quit? And so other people will give you better step-by-steps. But we're here to express our opinions. And I'm saying nothing is anything. Don't worry if for a time you got to find different friends or things have to change in your life a little bit because you're not willing to like engage in this clearly self-destructive activity. Yeah. And don't feel bad about having been an alcoholic in the first place or a drinker in the first place because like I said, there's a huge list. There's other people too that were famous drinkers. I'm pretty sure Edgar Allan Poe is on there. And so it's not that. It's that there's a lot of money in alcohol. You know what I mean? The government's not doing their best to warn people about it. McDonald's isn't doing its best. You don't go to McDonald's and the sign says, greasy food that leads to heart attack. It's brightly colored. Come in here. And they spend money on advertising to get you to do it. It's not a clear depiction. Any poster you see of alcohol won't be like a homeless guy with a bottle. Yeah. It'll be some thing that makes it look good. But that's not the reality. And you go, but the only reality I need is when I drink it. And that's why I'm saying, well, if you're already there, then you've got an adventure ahead of you. It's just to figure out how to live without it now. And if you haven't done it, you heard it from the horse's mouth. It's probably not worth starting.
All right, well, we'll end this here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our reaction on it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone till next time,
stay spiritual.